All right, hi everybody. Thank you for attending SIG Windows. I haven't been on any of these meetings for the last 4 weeks, so I've been getting my updates through email as well as Slack channel readings. So I'll provide a little bit of an update on what Aprenda has been working on for the last couple of weeks, and then we'll open up the floor for other folks to provide updates. I also have a small update from David Porter, but I don't see him online. So if he doesn't join us by then I'll provide the update on his behalf. So from the Aprenda perspective, we've had a couple of engineers working on the storage and volumes. That's one of the prerequisites for us to get to beta. And essentially the work that we're doing there is to provide support for things like empty host path, persistent volumes, secrets, as well as local. And for the most part, we've gotten 90% of this working. Local is one of those things that is not working yet, but that's also an alpha feature. So we need to figure out if that's something that we need to support or not. What my directive was to the team was, if it ends up being a time sink, we'll skip it until it gets to a beta or general availability level feature. So other than that, we've been doing a lot of helping of folks to install the SIG Windows work using the OVN OVS work from Cloudbase, as well as the new installers and the new capabilities that we put into this. That's it at the high level. We are against our roadmap that we defined way back when in June. We are, I would say we're tracking well. I wish we could have made more progress, but the contributions by other companies and other members of the SIG really just haven't been there. So my goal is if we can get some of the networking to be completely robust, especially with the help from the Aline and Cloudbase, and then get the storage and volumes there, including config maps, secrets, and all these things, then I think we'll be in good shape to declare beta. What we are still missing significantly is regression runs and automated testing, right? So after beta, that's going to be the first focus, is to make sure that we get all of our testing infrastructure in place to be able to, catch regressions on this work. I wish we could have done that earlier, but we just didn't have resources. The other thing that may make it into beta, and that's since David is not online, I'll provide some of his update, is the work that David is doing around CRI and getting the container stats for SIG Windows for Kubernetes. And when you look at that work, it's kind of split into 3 efforts. And there's the node level and the pod level statistics that exist, and we're not really doing anything for that. Today, Kubernetes, even for Docker, gets those stats from cAdvisor. So they haven't ported those to CRI yet. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do about that. And the last part is the container level metrics, which are coming from CRI. David has had some difficulty, and I see he just joined us right now, getting his PR merged. SIG node is giving him some pushback. So what we'll do is we're going to attend the SIG node meeting, me, David, and Anthony, within the next half an hour, and have a discussion with them and kind of try to address some of their concerns, figure out what the issues are, and if we need to make some code changes, we'll obviously evaluate that as well. So David, I gave your update. I don't know if there's anything else that you want. I don't know if there's anything else you want to provide, but you can definitely chime in. So that's it from me. So I'll let David speak about some of the work he's doing, if there's additional updates from what I mentioned, and then we'll go around the room.
Yeah, so I think you covered it. I mean, I've been working on providing stats for Windows containers and metrics. Submitted a PR I think about a week ago. So it looks like the main upstream maintainer for this area is SIG node, and they requested some changes. Most of the changes make sense. I've updated. So one of the things that I did was they have the CRI system, which is kind of abstracting away the container runtime. So they have one for Docker and Rocket, and in the future maybe other runtimes. I didn't really integrate with the CRI because the CRI metrics were not available at the time. and it looks like that might ship in 1.8. So they're kind of looking for CRI integration. So I've been working offline a little bit to update my PR to get to work with the CRI offline. So that's one of their main concerns. The other thing that we still need to figure out with them is regarding the node metrics. One of the things they asked was that maybe it makes sense for node metrics to live outside of the Kubernetes code base and actually inside a different repo. And we need to figure that out, because how I see it, it's kind of a little bit painful because there's really not that much code for the node metrics. It makes sense, I think, for it to live in kubelet. If it lives outside the kubelet, we need to figure out who will own that repo, and that's kind of more of a problem. So that's one thing I kind of want to address. So that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah, we'll discuss it with them later on, just given the fact that the node and pod level metrics are coming from cAdvisor, and the fact that they want us to have some plugin to provide those in Windows. It might not be a bad idea. I just want to hear Juju Young kind of explain it and see what the rationale is, why they want us to go down that route versus like an encapsulation on top of cAdvisor, because we could do that.
Yeah.
So let's discuss it with them. I honestly, since I've been out, I haven't talked to the SIG node guys on this specific issue, so I don't have more details about why they want this approach. So hopefully we'll hear more details later on today.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think it would be good to differentiate too, if this is just Yuju's opinion or if it's something that's a widely held belief by, say, Dawn or other members of the SIG. So, because sometimes people's personal opinions can be very fixed and not necessarily representative of the grander scheme. And also, if this gets to be a major problem, it can also be arbitrated at the SIG architecture level. So that's a second level of appeal if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from an effort perspective, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference for us to go to an abstraction level over cAdvisor versus a plugin. We just need to do the right thing here.
My opinion is that these things should be in the SIG. There are two opinions, actually. One is that SIG Windows should take a strong look at implementing all the container stuff via the CRI that would involve forking the sort of the existing Docker stuff, but it would be able, then you would be able to do it in a very particular Windows way and not have to worry about sort of the Linux Docker stuff breaking. I know Dawn has mentioned in the past that like they're always concerned about doing things that break the Windows side because they're not testing it, and they don't want to do that to SIG Windows. The other thing is that why node stats? Why shouldn't that be part of the CRI? Like just like container stats we're getting from, and that would make, I think, life easier for SIG Windows as well. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why node and pod level stats did not come through CRI. I guess that's something that either is a work in progress or some other reason why SIG node did not choose to go down that route. I don't have the background behind that.
Yeah, right now, just to give a little background I can give you. So on Linux, for example, the node level stats come from cAdvisor.
Did we lose them?
Yeah, I think we lost David. Yeah, so I think what David was going to say is that cAdvisor gets the node and pod level stats. Again, the reason why they didn't move that out of cAdvisor into CRI, I don't know that.
I'm saying, but what I was saying is those things implemented, like cAdvisor was how container stats were being retrieved before. And from also personal experience, like things like horizontal pod auto scaling, at least were not done with pod level stats. They were done with container level stats, because I tried implementing pod level stats and ignoring container level stats, and horizontal pod auto scaling didn't work because Heapster was just totaling up container level stats, and that's what it was providing HPA. So I mean, you can take my experience with a little bit of grain of salt in that, but like I would strongly push that like these are things that should be like the SIG node, that these are things that should be in CRI and would make it easier for everyone not to have to worry about these things.
Mike, I think you're muted.
You're right, Abe. So thanks. Me and David are going to relay that to SIG later on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, whatever we get back, we'll update everyone either on the next SIG Windows meeting, or we'll update the channel. Aline, do you have an update on us on the work that you guys are doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So unfortunately, I don't have any updates regarding the OpenOVS with CNI. We've been testing the network namespaces that Microsoft presented a couple of weeks ago, I think. And the good news is that we might use the same CNI code that they want to push to the Kubernetes. So that code would be used for both of us. Other than that, nothing new.
Is there a timeline that Alessandro and your team have put for this work? Like, you know, I guess what I'm specifically asking for, you know, in order for us to go to beta, we need to have this work ready, right? So are we getting closer? Is there like a timeline?
I'm not sure about the timeline. I have to speak with Aline. When is the beta release?
So we can do a lot of our stuff out of band, as in, like, you know, we don't have to ship our code completely with the 1.8 release train.
I can't hear you, unfortunately.
Oh, can you guys hear me or not? Or is it just Aline that can't hear me? Hey, Abe, can you guys hear me?
He's back. Oh. Mike, are you back?
Can you guys hear me okay now?
We can barely hear you. You're cutting in and out a little bit.
I don't know what's going on with Zoom.
And Shia, it looks like there's a lot of noise coming from your mic.
I'll mute, sorry.
All right, how about now, guys? Can you hear me okay now better?
Yeah, much better.
All right, cool. So I don't know what happened there. Zoom just crashed on me, but it seems it's still recording, so I don't know what's going on there. But what I was going to say is that a lot of our work can ship completely out of band. So we don't need to essentially worry about the 1.8 release train. So our goal, though, was to get to beta by end of September of 2017. So Aline, that gives us maybe about 5 weeks at the last couple of weeks for stabilization. So it's about 3 more weeks before we say, hey, we can code freeze now and start stabilizing this. So why don't you talk to Aline and Alessandro and see, you know, how that fits with the rest of your timelines. I probably should start a thread with Alessandro as well, given that me and him are presenting to the Open Source Cloud Forum in October in Europe. So we want to have beta ready by then. So if it's not September, definitely by mid-October we need to be done and get beta out. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of mitigating factors where we are today, right? So lack of resources is one of them, and you know, obviously we have loved to have more contributors working on this. So especially thankful to the folks that are on this SIG that are contributing, and I wish we would have had more. Anybody else that has an update or concerns or anything else they would like to talk about? All right. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Hopefully volumes and all the other stuff is done, and as well as the CRI work with C Advisor and CRI. And we'll be able to tackle the last couple of items that we have for our beta and just kind of streamline towards testing that work. And we'll reach out to everybody, including Peter from Google and ACS from Azure, and have all of you guys test our work and make sure we're not going to break anything in your respective platforms. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, guys. You
Bye.
too, Michael. Thanks.
Thanks.